Can I get there? Are we getting there? Eventually? Oh, there we go. There we go. We have a bit of a thing going up now. Right. So, I don't need to make this there. So, yeah. Hello, Yoink. Thank you for just joining even before I started. Yeah. I was doing a May the 4th stream, so May the 4th be with everyone. This is officially Star Wars Day, but yeah, I don't really have a plan for this one, so I just gotta see how it goes. And yeah. So actually I might get up and show my Jedi costume that I'm wearing, just because it's Star Wars Day. And I'll probably wear it on the 25th as well. So this will be good. And yeah, so before I get things out of the way. And there works. So, Jedi costume. I actually got this online from someone, and yeah, hi poker fan, yeah. Got this online from someone, so the cloak came separately, but the other parts came with someone, because I don't really know how to do the stuff myself properly, especially when I got this at least 4 years ago now. Oh, no, 5 years. That'll be a long time away, right. But yeah, there's this Jedi costume, got a nice belt. The pouches could be improved. I've only got this phone case sort of one, but I've never been able to find someone that actually makes the pouches and that. So I'm not really sure about that sort of thing. And yeah, otherwise, yeah, I've got the nice boots. Obi-Wan thing with boots going on like this. Yeah. Anyway. For anyone watching, thanks for coming and having a look. And this is pretty much a random May the 4th stream. May the 4th be with everyone. Got one of you oldie good lightsabers that you can use for tips and tricks and stuff like that. Done a little bit of practice. Some good hand-eye coordination there can be done. But yeah, the interesting thing with these supermarket lightsabers, they used to come with these clips like you have here, so you can actually put it on your belt. But the new ones that Disney are releasing, and Hasbro or whoever the toy manufacturer are, actually don't have these clips on them. Or this sort of side clip here, that's for a custom-made lightsaber belt. And so the older ones are really the way to go if you actually want one that you can actually hang on your belt and be able to extend. So it's cool. And yeah. So yeah, Yoink, an extraordinary stream. I thought gaming, I was sort of doing collaborating when I'm streaming, so I'll do that when I'm collaborating. I've got my next EU in review video coming up later. But yes, may the 4th be with everyone. If only I could put lightsaber effects on a stream, right? But yeah, what else can I talk about? Peter May died. I haven't talked about that at all on my YouTube channel yet. Things have just been coming out as they come out. And yeah, pretty much a lot of the actors from the original trilogy are now dying because of old age mainly. I knew Peter May had been unwell at other times and was unable to attend cons and that. So it's good to actually see that, in a way, that he was looking after himself a bit more, but he's a great guy. He loved the fans, all the fan interactions were great, and it's much like Carrie Fisher is like one of the pillars of the original trilogy cast that pretty much we cannot fault for anything. Yeah, rest in peace Chewie and Carrie Fisher as well. Warwick Davis. Warwick Davis is still alive. What am I talking about? Kenny Baker. That's right. Kenny Baker played R2-D2 as well. Well, I guess that's all part and parcel of pretty much that generation just dying off and then going on to the next generation. So I might just come back to sit down as it's easier. And see what is up. So, Ewan McGregor is still alive, I believe, but Alec Guinness isn't. So you've got a difference between Ewan McGregor and Alec Guinness doing that stuff. And good times. Also, thinking of some of the better things that can be done here. Actually, the original 2004 Battlefront is up on Steam now, which is awesome. They've slowly been adding some of the more classic games. And they've been... Part of that's been Episode 1 Racer as well. I think it was later last year, which is cool. No, yeah. You can't fault the quality of story of some things that Disney have done, but you gotta say, like, bringing out the sequel trilogy in this time period, they picked the right time for a hand down to the next generation, especially with that ages of the actor and what's been happening there. So, yeah, what else can I talk about? That's a good question. Yeah, I haven't played a lot of Battlefront 2 since it's been updated. I've been trying to get into some of the multiplayer at one point, but I'm more a single player guy, so I tend to be fine with that. Part of Battlefront 2's texturing issues might be because if people are trying to play multiplayer, they add mods and stuff anyway. But yeah, I'm trying to just... When I play through, it'll be the basic Battlefront 2 and good times. I've been playing stuff. Yeah, I intend to play it at one point. My next game is probably going to be Dark Forces. I think I've decided. I did a poll on Twitter that was either Dark Forces or The Force Unleashed. So I've ended up leaning... personal preference towards Dark Forces, but it's always good to have feedback from the fans of what they'd like to see next. And yeah, I like the OG Battlefronts a lot better than the new EA ones anyway. But if I was going to play Battlefront 2 and play through that, especially the single player part, I would play through from the first Battlefront 1, which is going to come up. Yeah, there's just an order. So Dark Forces will take me a while, but yeah, my Lego Star Wars playthrough finally finished after today as well. Oh, nice. Yeah, the Old Republic's quite good. I should play through my Jedi Knight and get him up to speed with Jedi Under Siege, because at the moment my Sith Warrior is the only one that'll be up to play Onslaught, which is the new expansion coming out. And they also... I'll be able to do that as well. What are people saying? And yeah, it's pretty easy to get to level 70. The main thing is playing through all of the character class stories, which, to be honest, with the Old Republic, I played through the class stories and then I sort of lost interest in some of the more expansion stuff. So it's just pretty much personal preference. I played through the expansions once and then it felt like, I don't really need to play them through with all the other characters because there's not much point. The story's pretty much going to be the same. You play one on the Imperial side, one on the a Dark Side, Light side playthrough basically for each. And yeah. Oh man, I'd love a cinematic trailer for Onslaught. The last cinematic trailer still didn't come out after the reboot, though, I don't think. So they don't seem to have been putting money into trailers and that, unless they're huge ones. Because there wasn't a cinematic trailer even for Shadow, and there wasn't one for Rise of the Hutt Cartel, which they could have done. The only ones are the main story editions like Knights of the Fallen Empire and Knights of the Eternal Throne, which had a huge batch of like all the chapters rather than just adding on little bits and pieces afterwards. But yeah, Blur Studios did the cinematic trailers, and I did upload them at one point and put them in my Souls of the Old Republic playlist, and they're really good. I'd take a movie by Blur Studios if they did that sort of animation, even though it would cost a lot. I'd take a movie with that animation for sure. And yeah, moving forwards, I guess I can talk about what I'm doing on my channel a bit. So moving forwards, I'm probably going to play Dark Forces next, and that'll start with the first one, and then go on to Dark Forces 2, and then Mysteries of the Sith, and then the Jedi Knight games, which are good. The only one I finished out of them actually is Jedi Academy, and that was last year, I think, so it'll be new experiences. On the first Dark Forces, I got stuck on a sewer level, because that's difficult, because you just get completely lost and don't know where to go, basically, and I'll have fun with that when I get back to it. And yeah, as far as all the others, I guess I can do this sort of thingy. If I go to favorites, yeah, the cutscenes for Dark Forces 2 are unique. That's the way to say it, I think. They're quite unique in that they actually got live actors to portray them. And yeah, that sort of thing is different. But let me just see if I can add this. Or that's going to go dark for a minute, but I'll just do this, do this, do this. Alright, so here we've got, I may as well share the games that I've got here. So I've got my video games sort of added all on Steam, because I go through Steam. And yeah, this is pretty much, there's sales on for the Steam sort. Yeah, there's Steam sales on for May the 4th, so things are a bit cheaper at the moment. But yeah, I've pretty much got, well, I did get the complete Star Wars collection on Steam. So there's all sorts of bits and pieces there. The ones that, like that, I actually installed from the old Windows 95 discs or whatever, and added the shortcuts, just so that I've got them all in one place mainly, and good stuff like that. Oh yeah, KOTOR. To be honest, I've finished Knights of the Old Republic a bunch of times, but KOTOR 2 I haven't finished. It's up there. So that's an interesting dynamic there. Remove this thing there. Because, yeah, I don't know. I found Knights of the Old Republic 2. I only played them a bit later on as well, so I only really found that I played them when I was an adult, and then I felt like it was a while till I got through Knights of the Old Republic, and then I ended up prioritising some other things over KOTOR 2, which has been more difficult as well, I find. Not that that's a bad thing, but it's more difficult. So, yeah. And yeah, definitely the 4th will be with all of the Star Wars actors. The Force. Because there is no death, there is the Force. Just saw the earlier comments there, and yeah, good stuff. I will be playing KOTOR 2 and all that on the channel at one point. I just have to work out what order I want to do the games in. And Dark Forces seems to be a logical step to say I'm going to go back to some of the earlier ones and play through that series, which are good. They've got great lore in the KOTOR games, and I wish that they actually made a novel format or a comic book for the canon versions of the choices of the games, which would be good. And yeah, all that stuff. Lightsaber form to specialise in. That's a good one. I feel like I'd go with Gemso, because that's sort of a mixture of all of them from memory. But I'll just double check what each one of them were. I would probably heavily use Sorosu, because I'm fairly pacifistic myself. Oh. Excuse me. I'm fairly pacifistic myself, so I probably would tend to use Sorosu a lot. But for what I'd like to use is sort of a Gemso Xian form. What am I thinking? That's not the right one. Sorosu, basically. I think. That's why I need to check. Just remember. And of course, I'd put... That's from the viewpoint that I'm quite pacifistic myself, and so I would prefer more to defend people than to attack. But I'd probably switch up between a few different ones just depending on the situation, being bits and pieces there. And yeah, I actually have finished the issues 7 to 10 of the classic Marvel Star Wars, so I've got that review ready. I was uploading it, which is why my stream started later, because it didn't want to work while video was uploading in the background, because my computer does not want to split the bandwidth between them, and one just takes over. Yeah, the story of how Malak lost his jaw. I forget if there's an actual story for that. I don't think so. But I haven't read the comics. It might be in the Knights of the Old Republic comics, but I forget. And I don't know the comics as much because I mostly read the novels. Which, I've been a bit slack on Dark Forces Jedi Knight, reading that. I need to get habits back into place for things. And, right, yeah, that's good. There's context for it. Sorry, oh yeah, one of those things that probably would have been filled in later on if they were still canon. Like a lot of the Old Republic era, to be honest. Because there's thousands of years of a gap between the Rise of the Empire era and the Old Republic era. And there's even the gap between Crucible and Legacy comics. Which I've read the Ania Solo Legacy comics, and they're awesome, but I haven't read the Cade Skywalker ones yet. But I'm working on the comics as well, because after the classic Marvel's ready for issue 108, which I pre-ordered, which is awesome, I'll be going into probably starting chronologically with the comics and reading them in a similar way to the way I'm reading the classic Marvel Star Wars, because I found an app on my phone called Readler, and I've got an Android phone, that I can read the comics in digital format on my phone, which is a lot easier for me there. But it's probably one of those. I mean, Cade, as far as polarizing, I've only really heard people say good things about him, to be honest, and how he's interesting as a descendant of Luke. It was a risky move, having it that sort of he's not part of the Jedi Order and hasn't really carried on the legacy of Luke until he's pulled back into it from the storyline that we have. The more polarizing parts of the expanded universe, I think I'd say, are the Clone Wars 2008 series. The Yuzhan Vong is a big one, because Yuzhan Vong, it's usually either you love it or hate it, and I know there's a fair few EU fans that have stopped reading post New Jedi Order. Like, they just stopped reading it at the New Jedi Order because they didn't like the Vong, which you're really missing out on good stories like Legacy of the Force and that if you're stopped doing that. So yeah. I thought about playing a game on this stream. Oh, hello Lethal. Master Johns. Hello there. So, yeah, there's this bits and pieces. I consider playing a game on this stream, but that's sort of... I want to do that properly, and if I'm to play a game, I'll probably play multiplayer while I'm streaming like this. Unless I'm collabing like with Swotor. Yeah. NGO, I think, looking at it, it's a 19-book series, it's a huge series, but like, that's up the next story as well. But you don't have to read it to read the next stories. The EU is written so well that you can jump into any standalone or series and understand what's going on. Well, it depends on the robe. I mean, at the start of the stream, I got up and showed off a little bit, so that's cool. Grievous, I think, isn't as polarizing as a character, because I think that the main polarizing factor is just his presentation in the expanded universe compared to the Clone Wars. And I mean, the Clone Wars is part of the expanded universe, but it's new canon as well. But yeah, they pretty much just failed to give Grievous that reputation that he seems to have in Revenge of the Sith in the Clone Wars, which is the main issue there. The whole story choices in the Clone Wars is odd. I can also talk about that I'm actually working on. I'll put it publicly up a fair bit later once I know I've completed it. I've sunk a few hours into putting my own timeline of all the expanded universe material together, so that it's in chronological order as best as I can. And yeah, there's too many timelines out there, and they're annoying to try and get through, because like Nathan Butler's timeline Gold focuses on events more than the actual material, so it's hard to say. Yeah, when that goes. Bongiorno's StarWarsTimeline.net. It's a good resource, but it goes way too detailed into like earlier on. Then you can say, yeah, he splits up the books by chapters, which that's really hard to try and sort through. And yeah, I'll send the list. I'm gonna put the link in the about section in my YouTube channel when I feel that it's appropriate and close enough, because at the moment I've got the Legacy era, the New Jedi Order era, the Old Republic era, and the pre-Old Republic eras sorted out pretty much. A few timelines. I still need to go through some of the more detailed timelines like Timeline Gold and that to corroborate the information, but I'm pretty set on those. The Clone Wars will probably be... it's a really hard one, the Clone Wars, to try and sort out. So I think that'll be the last one that I end up doing. And yeah, I may as well just link that in the comments. So just a minute. It's on Google Docs, so yeah. Now I'm tossing it. Once I finish it, I might put it into a table format, or I might not. It just depends. So that's copied to the clipboard, and I can link that there. So that's, I've said it's work in progress anyway. But, like, Oh, I can do this thingy again. I should have just left this here. Display capture. Right. So the way I've set it up is I've set up the different media types that have different color text, like here. And I've denoted which canon tier, as best to the best of my knowledge, each does. Oh, I can delete that. I'll include them later. Yeah, which canon tier each fits into the best I can. And that's officially according to Lucasfilm just before the buyout, so T canon is in effect, even though my head canon will place T canon in S canon. And yeah, I've basically just, the intention is to create a timeline of just the material for people to be able to read or experience the content without having to, yeah, that's alright, Lethal, in and out. Experience the content without, I have to stop at this chapter and then go to something else and then come back to the book. So, for example, even with Lost Tribe of the Sith, the collected stories, you start that there if you want to. I just split up the short stories because they were first started in the short stories. And yeah, as you can see, I'm including adult novels like Dawn of the Jedi Into the Void, short stories, comics, and I'm going to go down. There's the visual media, I'll call it. I called it small screen because that's the best way to describe it, as that's the stuff that's on the small screen, like trailers, TV shows, micro series, and all that sort of stuff. Well, this galactic timeline I uploaded to YouTube as well in my Old Republic playlist, which is awesome. Yeah, those video games, so Knights of the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic 2. And I've included audio dramas as well. So there's an audio drama for Knights of the Old Republic, which goes back there. And to the best of my knowledge of the timelines that I've seen. Now, it could all be very dependent on when I actually read through them all as well and what order they're in. But it mostly makes sense that you just read or experience order that is chronologically makes sense. I started this list by copying from Wikipedia. And then I had to add in the comics separately because Wikipedia has really odd. It's also interesting how some short stories come out in 2015 are in the Wikipedia Timeline of Legends media list. And I'm working on it. So pretty much we've got here the Republic era. So the ones in this green are short junior novels. And I've lumped junior novels and young readers books together because they're basically the same thing. It's not complete 100% yet, I don't think. I was trying to find placement for some of the unknown placement ones in Joe Bongiorno's StarWarsTimeline.net. And he seemed to have a few more short stories and stuff that I didn't have. It's really difficult with his timeline because he's also mixing canon, so he has all the new canon stuff in there. And I want just an EU list. But this is complete as far as Wikipedia's list. I have got a bunch down the bottom that I don't know where they're placed. I sorted through. I've placed where I know they can be, so I'm not sure on the time frame for finishing this because it takes sort of the time it takes. I've just been devoting some time to it when I can, and I'll list my sources here because yeah, one of the big ones is the Essential Reader's Companion by Pablo Hidalgo. Actually has all of the novels and the comics in a reading or in a chronological order. It doesn't have all of the comics on it. It has the comics, most of them, but yeah, on Pablo. Yeah. I'll show off. I can do that one, the Essential Reader's Companion, right there. It's a really good resource for finding what order things are in, and it's an official book. Yeah, Pablo Hidalgo, but it's a good resource. The only thing is the Clone Wars era, which apparently, yeah, that Clone Wars era is debatable. He wrote the book, so he knows material, so he can't say he doesn't know the material. Yeah, basically I'm chucking that together. I'm also tossing whether to put that into an Excel and format it as a table with different things. The way that a bunch of timelines have gone to be able to auto sort it. Like, if I put the release dates, so I've got the canon status, the name of the content, the year of release, which I didn't think that I needed to go as detailed as to put the exact thing. And who wrote it. In the case of the Clone Wars, just didn't worry about trying to list everyone, but yeah, who wrote it. And for the movies, I've put in different colour for the actual movies, just who directed and who wrote it, which is, for example, like this one here, who directed and who wrote it. And Pablo seemed fine before 2014. Which is the time frame he wrote the book and it was released in 2012, so yeah. Yeah, I'm working on that. That's something that's taken up my time as well, rather than reading more books. Yeah, it's awesome. I'm working on that as a bit of a passion project. Like, I'm gonna use Evan Gamble's Clone Wars timeline for the Clone Wars era, because I think that will fit the best possible way. But it's all the stuff surrounding it as well that I need to work out based on reading the summaries on Wikipedia. Some of them don't even have summaries, which are just confusing, and I'd have to read them myself to know. So yeah, working on this is a work in progress and all of that good stuff. On the flip side of that token, I've just gone a bit slack with reading Dark Forces Jedi Knight and stuff, because I've been staying up doing that instead. And yeah, so good times. And my next Marvel Comics EU in review video is gonna come up today, hopefully. I should be able to upload it in between stream here. Oh, how long I've been working on that? Does it say date created? So, created April 20th, 2019. So I started that April 20th. Nice. On the radio, shall I play some tunes? Actually, I could if I chuck it through the speakers. Play some Star Wars tunes. And yeah. Oh, if I play Star Wars tunes, I'll get copyrighted. I better not do that. I just realised. Better not get copyrighted. I don't feel like it today. And yeah. And yeah, I took a week off doing a fun facts video just because I was fairly busy this week. And yeah. All the good stuffs. Now. It was between Dark Forces and the Force Unleashed. I think, because Lethal joined us, I can say I'm leaning Dark Forces at the moment. All the good stuff with that. So I'll start Dark Forces and go through that whole series probably. Because Lego Star Wars had the last episode. I got 100% today and I'm excited for finally finishing that because that went on for ages. Oh yeah, Jeremy. So, composers. One of my favourite composers from Star Wars is Mark Grisky as well. He did the soundtrack for KOTOR 2 and The Force Unleashed from memory. Yeah, I believe Eckhart's Ladder streams Empire at War. I'd need to get familiar with Empire at War first. So, yeah. Oh, Mark Grisky also did the music for SWTOR. Or SWTOR, whichever you call it. Force Unleashed, both of the Force Unleashed games. And yeah, Jeremy Soule did the original KOTOR. And Mark Grisky did KOTOR 2 music. Yeah, so it's awesome. Mark Grisky, I think, is one of the most common ones that I've found that he does awesome music and I love that music. So if they ever... I don't get their reasoning with some of their choices for composers and everything. Because, yeah, some of the choices of the composers and everything is just like... Mark Grisky has done awesome work, but you don't get him to work on one of the movies when you could have him on and have great music that's Star Wars sounding. Anyway, I saw Eckhart's Ladder. I'm not sure if it's the most recent video, but it's the one about hating Legends. He's tired of people hating on Legends, which is Expanding Universe. If no one knows, you probably do. But yeah, I definitely agree with what he said there. It's like I'm tired of all of those fights as well, where you go all of the one saying it was not canon, when by now everyone's probably seen the sources that have looked into it for why the Expanded Universe was canon. Video gonna come up with fun facts. And yeah, that's going to take some work. I'm going to get some sources from some other videos people have done as well. But yeah, the next fun facts should be about midichlorians, probably explaining what they actually are compared to what some people seem to think. And I'm going to record that tomorrow probably. Yeah, on being tired. I'm tired of just hate, really, is what I'm tired of. More than just hating on Legends, it's hating on just anything with Star Wars at the moment. Criticising is different to hate as well. So you can fairly criticise, you give a fair criticism, like... You can say that... Yeah. Argument about many comments. Okay, you can. Oh, Poker fan, you should see my video when it comes up. Then, what was it? Where was my train of thought going? Somewhere over the rainbow. So, what was the thing? Tired of just hate. Yeah, tired of just hate. Because there's so much crap. There's just personal attacks as well. You try and talk about Star Wars like a civil person, you get attacked. Especially on Twitter and in certain groups on Facebook, which Yeah, and you just hear sometimes it's an unrelated post, but someone comments, "Oh, this is trash" or whatever. It's like, oh, come on, man. You can say, "I'm not keen on that, and this is why," but just say, "Oh, it's trash." I mean, it sounds like you're stating that as truth and objective, and really a lot of that is subjective. But anyway, and the Lethal's question is, how would I fix Star Wars? That's something I've thought about for a while now, but okay, so here we go. I wouldn't do to the new canon what the Lucasfilm did to the expanded universe, as in just decanonize it and get rid of it. Now, I think I'd say that I'd switch it to a secondary universe sort of thing where that's one universe and Legends is the main one. And yes, I can appreciate calling it Legends or Expanded Universe. I'll use those terms interchangeably for that. Because you still got the core 6 movies to them anyway. So Expanded Universe is expanding on those films rather than the new ones. Anyway, back to on track about fixing Star Wars. It would be like, I'd urge them not to take stuff from the EU, and I'd actually try and find writers and authors and stuff that can actually come up with good original ideas to be able to implement in new canon material, and then that would benefit the timeline. Now, episode 9's already going to happen, so we're going to leave the sequel trilogy in the dust, and I'd create stories 1,000 years after that, something like that. It can tie in, maybe do some nods to what happened, but basically have it completely separate. And you can have the Old Republic era, but I'm of the mind that you created a new timeline, so you should create something completely different to what came before. For example, an idea I thought of ages ago, I thought it'd be cool if they did these sort of little twists and stuff, is that Darth Plagueis was only alive 500 years before Darth Sidious. He wasn't his master, but because, especially with Darth Gravit around that time period losing knowledge, it could be something similar to that, but not really. But Darth Plagueis could have found out the secret to immortality, but then that was lost because the apprentice killed the master. And that will go how the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise goes. That is putting a different twist on the movies, because then Palpatine is only using the story to tempt Anakin, and he doesn't actually have that knowledge. I mean, he'd want to work towards it probably, but he wouldn't actually have the knowledge from Darth Plagueis himself. He'd have some hand-me-down, maybe some tidbits of stuff. But yeah, I thought that'd be a cool little twist to it. But I'm placing things like the old original trilogy era's been done. The prequel trilogy era's pretty much been done as well. You could sprinkle a few extra things in there, but yeah, like Dooku's backstory and that sort of stuff. It's good to expand upon, and some of the things that we don't know. But if you go thousands of years before, go Old Republic era. Create original stories in that. People love Revan. And that's the thing with the Old Republic era. People love the Old Republic era from the expanded universe. But for a new canon timeline, I wouldn't copy that stuff. If I'm going to make stuff based on the expanded universe, set it in the expanded universe. Thinking of doing an alternate universe of the Clone Wars. Now, what would that look like, Poker Fan? What would an alternate what would your thinking of just a basic outline of the alternate universe of the Clone Wars look like? Because at the moment, mine looks like sort of the Clone Wars 2008 series is Imperial propaganda to fit in the best it can with the expanded universe timeline. It's S-canon like the classic Marvel Star Wars comics that I'm reading through at the moment, so that clears up any of the issues there. Anyway, back to what I was thinking of. You can make your Revan movie. Give the canon story of Revan to a movie, and then make a novelization of that. Do the multimedia project sort of thing, like Shadows of the Empire and The Force Unleashed and that. And 1313 was going to be a multimedia project as well, with tie-in novels and that. But just make it so that you can remaster KOTOR. That'd be really popular. You can make a movie of Revan, and people would love it. You could even incorporate the Knights of the Old Republic comics and everything to it. Of course, movie adaptations are a bit different to the source material as far as comics and that, but you do it in a way that's written well. Yeah. I think, yeah, okay, I choose to give characters that have very little material more material, so that's something as well that I find that the expanded universe could have done a bit better on. The expanded universe could have had more stories about certain characters, because even Lando we don't have that many stories about. We could improve on that, just filling in those gaps, because Ahsoka was featuring in some and probably would have featured in more books if the EU was still canon, and some of the other bits and pieces probably would have been filled in more, but then you start getting, there's all this content for the Clone Wars, why don't we put it in another era? And then the Rebellion era is so packed with other material that they're probably better to go somewhere like the Old Republic or the Legacy era where you can have more freedom, that sort of thing. Yeah, Fordo. Now, is Fordo in anything else? So, like, a 2003 microseries is awesome. I tried uploading that, but they copyrighted it. But I've got a playlist on my channel where someone else uploaded the full thing and didn't get copyrighted and taken down for some reason. There you go, yeah. Okay, so he's in a photo comic outside of the Clone Wars microseries, but nothing else past that. That's a bit disappointing, yeah. I would have liked a lot of expansion of those characters as well. Alright, back to this. And on the other hand of fixing Star Wars, I don't know. I think the way the expanded universe did it was good, was if there was something that contradicted, they could retcon it and place it in a lower tier level as well. That could happen. There's the major existing contradictions in the EU, not counting Clone Wars. I've chucked together a list for that as well. Let me just have a quick squeeze. Because I'm gonna check some of these, but yeah, the major contradiction between the Micro series and Labyrinth of Evil. And there's the whole stuff that came in from the Clone Wars as well. Pretty much the only existing valid contradiction would be between Labyrinth of Evil and Star Wars Clone Wars micro series. The others are nitpicky and small things, and I'll probably do a video talking about them at one point once I've checked some of them. Yeah, we could collaborate on a timeline. I've actually, in a Star Wars group that I'm an admin of, and the admin group chat actually inspired me to do this, and he said he's making his own timeline, which would be interesting to see how different people format it. Because some of the things like Joe Bongiorno's StarWarsTimeline.net is frustrating for me, because there's things with similar names as well that you go, which one is it? Because he doesn't say who wrote it as well. And yeah, I'll do my own version of my timeline, and then it can always be fact checked by everyone else, and that'd make it a lot better as well. And yeah, pretty much more material on anything in the expanded universe will be great. They could highlight lesser known characters. Even, I noticed in the Bounty Hunter Wars trilogy, there's Kudamuba, arachnid species, assembler. It creates pretty much mini versions of itself to do jobs. They only appear in the Bounty Hunter Wars trilogy. I was like, that's a cool idea for a species. They say about a planet of them, but then they never appear again in the EU. Alright, well, Pokerfan, if I don't see you again, thanks for joining us. This is a random stream that I've put together for this, so yeah, cool. Good conversation going anyway with people. That's the purpose of a live stream, I guess, is to get conversations going. And yeah. I'm thinking of doing a tribute video to the fallen Star Wars actors. Fallen, as in they've died by now from old age or whatever. That's an idea that came up today in my head. So it might happen, might not. But I think it'd be nice to do that. As a bit of a compilation of their scenes in movies, and if, like, especially Peter Mayhew's death recently, I did mention it early in the stream. The Chewbacca comic that's just recapping his life and what happened to him, that's impacted me so much. I actually found that, I've read that one, I found that in one of the comic shops somewhere or something, and read that, and it's just going to have so much more of an impact now. Losing Chewie. And I guess the actors dying is also a marker for the next generation to come in and say, look, the old's dead. You can't recapture that now, and you have to deal with what you have at the moment. And so it's all possibilities, and there's ways to do things if you want to, but it's generally quite difficult to sort out everything. Yeah, I'm also studying film and TV. I don't know if I've ever said this on the video, but I'm actually studying film and TV as well. And so that's taking up my main time as far as life goes. Which I was fairly busy actually yesterday, helping a couple of other students with shoots, which have been awesome. And this is in my head, quite possibly, if Star Wars fades away and gets picked up by someone, I'd love to pursue a career in filmmaking, and there quite possibly could be something there. Yeah, Peter May, funny autocorrect there. He was quite unhealthy leading up to his death. Like, I know he was unhealthy and he couldn't attend cons and things, so. And we knew it was coming a bit. Yeah. At the moment, I don't have a fan film idea I want to put in place. At the moment, if I'm going to make a film, I'd like to make my own original stories and that, rather than basing it off of something else, so that I can get some experience in writing my own original stories and putting it together as well. Because I wrote down a couple of ideas. No, that's not the part of my phone to look at, if full. Anyway. So, a couple of great ideas that I thought of to just put things together is if I create my own universe at one point at all, just adjust this a little bit. If I create my own universe, set a story on alternate reality Earth that connects. So we can have an alternate reality Earth, so, and that's in a certain state and whatever, and maybe in the future or whatnot, but may not be. might just be alternate universes in parts futuristic and not. And then there's also a story in a galaxy far away that's completely science fiction. Similar Star Wars vibes, but, I mean, different, of course. You have to have different because it's not Star Wars. And that goes on, but there's a tenuous connection there. Something you can pick up if you look into it. And eventually, after multiple stories in the different types of universes, it could be connected together in some sort of crossover. But you might not want to have that. It could just be set in the same universe but different galaxies. And you could have some things that are common central things that connect them together, but they never actually meet each other. Another thing is that fictional universes, I was talking with someone about origins of fictional universes, and they were saying that with Star Wars compared to Lord of the Rings is on the whole origin of the universe and how it's created. And Star Wars hasn't, and said person I was talking to wanted to know the origins of the Star Wars universe. And some of the things that I was thinking of with that is I like the mystery and questioning that we don't know the origins of the universe properly. Like we have with Star Wars, it sort of relates to our own world, as we base it just off of the evidence that we have, rather than we know definitively what is true as far as the universe's origins. And so that's an interesting conversation. So what I thought with that is you dot in clues to the origins of the universe throughout all of your media that you produce. Novels, comics, video games, whatever. Depends how big it gets. And then once you piece those pieces together, that's when you can put together a story of the origin of the universe. For the really hardcore fans that want to know. Some cool ideas that I came up with anyway. Lethal. Planet of the Brie. I can't help just thinking of the moon's made of cheese. Yeah, I'm on the whole thing with soy and the SJWs and that. It's quite possible. I don't know. I haven't actually spoken to an SJW in real life at all. So I don't know where it comes from. Oh, hi Jaden and J-Power. Thanks, yeah. I mean, I could show it off again. I did it at the start of the stream. Why not? Because it is May the 4th. And so, yeah, the only thing I'd change about it is some of the belt pouches, because I pretty much just got one of those old phone pouches. And, yeah, I talked about clips on the supermarket, lightsabers not being there anymore, which is pretty much a quality degradation thing. But, yeah, when May the 4th... turn that up a bit. When May the 4th is a day when I'm going to be working or anything, I'll chuck on the Jedi costume. And this is a costume I got a photo at Oz Comic Con the year before last, I think it was, that actually had a green lightsaber edited onto it, and it looks awesome. I've been using that for my thumbnails and all the good stuff there. But yeah, silly rabbit tricks are for kids, yeah, something like that. But you can do good tricks like this. And the shutter speed is probably accurate to real life, so you see the blur. And yeah, you can do the Starkiller thing where you backhand, hold, and that's pretty much how we deflected shots, I think, from memory. You can have your cool poses, like that's the general pose that I had, and the Obi-Wan Kenobi pose. and yeah, all the good stuffs. But this Jedi costume isn't based on any in particular. So I'm just me. I'm Jedi Master Callum Johns. But yeah, also the thing with names on my channel. Naming of my channel, yes, of course. Let's talk about that for a minute. So I couldn't think of a good fake name to put on my channel, so I just put my name. And I've been on the mentality not to claim any titles. Like Evan, the guy I collab with, calls himself Holocron Keeper. And there's others that call themselves Jedi Master and everything. And yeah, I just tend not to want to assume a position that I'm not. Jedi Master, if I really think about it, you have to have the Force. Holocron Keeper assumes that you have knowledge of every single thing in the expanded universe, which I don't, and I even forget a lot of information. But, so just my name does. And thanks JPal for about my Jedi tricks. Silly rabbit. Tricks are for kids. Yeah, I can do funny voices sometimes. Yeah, I've practiced some Jedi tricks. I actually looked up how to do the whole... So basically when you're doing that trick from the front, it's all in the wrist. And then you hold it fairly loosely. Titles, yes. Daenerys Stormborn, the Unburnt Queen of the Seven Kingdoms, the Stormbringer, and all of those titles to come. But I just use my name. Because I'm just me. I'm open and honest as well. And so, if someone gives me a title, I'll go, is that appropriate? But I'll go, yeah, I'll accept it as long as it's fine. But I'm not one to give myself a title. That seems a bit egotistical to me. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I'm thinking of egotistical, not that keen on know-it-alls. But that's part of having a simple conversation, is admitting where you might be wrong. So, it's good. Really cool to put together a bit of a film, short trailer intro thing with the Jedi costume, wouldn't it? I did get Vegas Pro recently as well, thinking of editing at home. And theoretically I should be able to put lightsaber effects and that on with Vegas Pro, from what I've seen. So that'd be awesome. I just haven't played around with that yet because of time, and at college with film and TV they want us to use Premiere Pro, which I don't like the Adobe stuff as much. But that's cool. Oh yeah, egotistical is actually one of your titles. I guess one of your titles is also lethal, and the other is lightning. Because who calls their kid lethal lightning? I guess it's just as good as some celebrity calling their kid Apple and that sort of thing. Ask Princess Leia or Wonder Woman out on a date. I mean, Princess Leia would mess with the timeline if something actually went further. And Princess Leia already has Han, and they already have children, and she's pretty much at the end of her life as well by the time of Crucible. Wonder Woman has multiverses to play around with, and it wouldn't be messing with the timeline as much. Plus, Gal Gadot's awesome. And, yeah, praise the goddess. Wonder Woman actually... Steve Trevor dies. So, I mean, she can move on from that, can't she? And, I mean, it's only in some of the universes that she's with Superman, so I can take the rest of that. I can take the ones where C. Trevor dies and then come in and go in there and not mess with the timeline too much. Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman. Because you got to preserve the continuity when you have time travel and messing in the timeline there. Because if I was going to ask them out on a date, I wouldn't ask Princess Leia post-Crucible. Because she's already got Han and everything. She's nearing the end of her life anyway. She's going to die soon afterwards, even though it's not written. And, yeah. Even, yeah. I don't care about new canon Leia, so... Well, not as much. Because Expanded Universe Leia is awesome. She has she had 3 children. One's left. But, yeah. Oh, no, not at all like Endgame. But I don't even know what Endgame's rules are like. Hi, Evan. Is they sort of try to establish rules in Endgame, but then they sort of break those rules with the ending as well. Overall thoughts on Avengers Endgame. I quite enjoyed the cinematic experience of it. I thought it was quite enjoyable. But I find some flaws in the storytelling. And spoiler alert if you haven't seen it. I find the time travel stupid because they try and say that it won't change the future, their present from when they go back, but then if it doesn't change the present of when they come back, then how is old Captain America there? And that's something that came to my attention after talking to someone else as well. Some of the things like Cap giving the shield to Falcon is like, apparently that has happened in the comics, but I've only really seen the MCU movies, and from just watching the movies, Bucky has more of a story and a relationship with Captain America, and Bucky actually has the ability to fight on par with Captain America, which would make a lot more sense to have him take the shield. And yeah, then there's some of the Professor Hulk parts is like, I don't mind Professor Hulk, like, they combined them, but I find it quite strange how we can't even smash, like, surely Mark Ruffalo, no, that's the name of the actor, surely Bruce Banner would be able to get angry and know how to smash things. Because Hulk gets power from his rage. And basically they just depowered the Hulk. Which I'm not as keen on, because you still want to see a Hulk Thanos team up a bit. And that sort of stuff. I'll say that after I rant about Endgame J-Power. Yeah. And yeah, there's some other things like Thor. And it's okay, I guess, that he gave up, but I can see where he can give up, because there was no other option other than time travel, and they wouldn't think time travel's possible. But to get into that state where he's the fat drunkard, no. He should be training like a beast, even if it's to prevent the next catastrophe from happening. Yeah. And so on and so forth, but I quite enjoyed other parts like the epic battle at the end, and just the way that they tweaked on the nostalgia a lot with the harkening back to the older movies and stuff like that, and then they did that in a way that's good and didn't ruin the other characters. Oh, one of the other things was Black Widow's death for the Soul Stone. I don't think that quite makes sense, because Black Widow had already moved on from Clint. She had this whole thing with the Hulk going on, the movies, and Clint had already had a wife and children, so they didn't really have love, like the father-daughter love thing. Anyway, expectations for Episode 9 of the Star Wars Skywalker Saga. Well, apparently it's going to be the end of the Skywalker Saga, but it's named Rise of the Skywalkers. Yeah, that's pretty much self-explanatory. And Palpatine, I don't think it makes sense to bring back Darth Sidious in the flesh. And all it is fan service, really. So, if they bring back Palpatine, I feel like with them looking at the Death Star, it's his Sith spirit attached to the ruin of the second Death Star there. And what was it? Expectations. I expect Rey to be not really have any challenges and to beat the bad guy, because that's the trend that's been happening in the last two movies. I expect them to play on nostalgia a lot, because the last movie J.J. Abrams made for Star Wars played a lot on the nostalgia, and I doubt that will change with his last one. I expect there to be flaws in the continuity, because they're trying to correct errors in The Last Jedi, where they not just, they're obviously trying to correct errors in The Last Jedi, and apparently they're going to retcon parts of The Last Jedi, so there you go, there's continuity errors in the movies. Nah, I don't mind if you hop on the stream, Evan, just let me sort out a couple of bits and pieces. Because, actually, I might, I'll just do it this way. I've just been doing this myself for a little bit, and there's the whole part of Kylo. I don't really have much expectations for him. He's probably he can either get a redemption, and will most likely get redeemed just as he dies. That'd parallel Jason Solo. I'll just do this so I can hear Evan when he hops on the stream. Yeah, episode 8 could have been much better. And there's so much, they took risks, I guess. They took a risk by even releasing the first draft using the first draft. Because of, who was it? Someone said that, there's some quote from someone famous, I think it's Ernest Hemingway, is to never use the first draft of your anything, because it'll always need improvement. It won't make sense. And Evan, jump on Discord and we can video chat. Hangouts would be fine. I haven't used Hangouts. I'm using OBS at the moment, so preferably I'd go through OBS still for now. I'd use Hangouts if, I can use Hangouts later, I guess. Episode 8 could have been a lot better. The Force Awakens could have been a lot better. My experience with The Force Awakens was that I got really hot. I ended up buying into the hype for it just before it came out, pretty much. I saw the potential in it, and then it let me down a lot. So let me just see if I can bring up Evan here. Yeah. I'm kind of... I've got Evan on here. I just got to find how to... Oh, what's this doing? OBS is having fun because I'm trying to change it. Okay, so this is gonna be fun. Duplicate this. And image away.
I'm gonna just chuck that down in the description.
That's alright.
Not the description, in your chat. So.
Oh yeah. This is gonna look weird for a minute. Hang on.
How long you been streaming?
Oh, no, I think I'll have to tell you in a minute. But yeah, we've got audio for both sides now.
Alright, cool. I've just been busy again, and
I've been streaming from about 3:30, and it's, well, a bit after because I had technical issues, and it's
2:56 here.
Yeah. Turn on camera, I can do. Yep, there we go. No, successful transfer.
And me and you talked about peak human perfection. And not really, but I'm whatever.
I talked about my timeline that I'm doing earlier in the stream as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So we could collaborate on that a bit as well. Got it.
What gets confusing is the Marvel Star Wars stuff, but it's, you know.
It's in canon, so
it's canon,
not so bad. Yeah, what gear program do I usually use? So when making pre-recorded videos for YouTube, I use OBS. And even for streaming, I'm using OBS, right?
So I'll piggyback off that question. What I use, again, same thing like recording wise, I'll use OBS. When we do podcasts, we usually use Audacity.
Yeah, we've used Audacity in the background when all my live streams are through.
I used to use Camtasia, Adobe when I still had like an Adobe like suite. And I also, for art graphics for the channels, I use Illustrator. I did Callum's logo.
Yeah, that originally started as the Holocaust logo, and then I thought it'd be awesome to use, and thank you a lot for that.
Yeah, of course.
And as far as the physical gear I have which brand of these? Astro A10 headset.
The video editor I use OpenShot. It's free. It's open source.
Yeah, and for my video editor, I recently purchased Vegas Pro. I was using Movie Studio Platinum before.
I should have gotten Vegas.
It was on special, so it was a bit cheaper.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, other than that, I've got a Rode NT USB microphone.
Something which I want to get because I hear good things about that, and sound quality it produces is good.
And for the microphone, what is it?
A Blue Snowball. IC. It's just kind of a cheap thing because my last mic was using that.
It's as
a holdover.
Anyway, it's a Logitech 1080p. So I have to find it in the list here.
I might as well name off my headset. Mine is a Sennheiser. Good. Sennheiser HD206. I used to have, I think, a 204, 208, one of the two. And those have good sound quality, and these are just kind of like a version of them.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
It works. So noise cancelling is pretty good.
Manager, it's a C922 Pro.
I'm using a Microsoft LifeCam 720p.
Cool.
Which I need to figure out how to make it widescreen, like oh darn it, Like,
You can change that in the settings in OBS in the display capture. Look at the settings of takes down all of OBS. If you look at this, that's the display capture, not a camera. So when I have the camera up, you can see it, but not at the moment. But yeah, you can go into the settings for the microphone on the OBS and change that to the right resolution. Because I think I found that with mine when I was using the 720 it actually went slightly above, and that's what it was using by default. So you can change your resolution back down to 720 and it goes widescreen. Yeah. That's cool. So yeah, good stuff. Can
I? Give me a second. I'm trying to
just
quickly.
Started a stream and didn't know what I was gonna do, and I just started talking.
No, you're good.
It's ended up good because people have joined in. And yeah. Oh, and in the editor in YouTube, it's good to chuck an end screen on so that people get recommended to your videos and that. I can probably do the false.
If anyone has any questions for me, go on ahead. We need to build temples. Jeez, Lethal. You're being too kind to me tonight. Oh, my hard drive failed to read, which had a lot of my stuff.
Oh, that's fun. You didn't back them up?
It's my portal drive, which I'm using as main storage, so I can't really back anything up in large quantities. I managed to get some of it back already, and it's nothing that I can't quickly access online.
I have 4 views and 4 likes. May the 4th be with you.
Nice.
That's awesome.
I have. I'm gonna grab these off the shelf really quick. Give me a moment.
That's all good. And the other one. So I can do that, yeah. For this, I've been using Discord for these collab ones. Like, I haven't used Google Hangouts, but I put it out. It's not too hard. But I've been using Discord because I like being able to control the screen like that.
So I said I wanted to do at some point. I might do this on my live stream later today. Evening tomorrow. I want to do kind of like a trivia night or whatever for May the 4th.
I think there was one on.
So I've got 2 quiz books currently.
Nice.
This one's more East stuff, and this is just kind of general movie trivia. This is up to date.
We'll see if the trivia is full of casuals.
Right, but you also have that book. This one references some EU material. Not much, but it has some. The entrance exam quiz book only goes up to, I think, 1997. So it's basically the Bantam era stuff.
Oh, that's cool, yeah.
So I could have that, but I'm about to search or ask around any of the groups for any trivia questions, and I might hold that tomorrow.
Nice. Jay Powers asked, how long have you guys been active on your YouTube careers?
So do you want to go, or do you want me to start?
You can start first, since I asked the question to you.
So for me, I've been around on YouTube in many different forms. I have a gaming channel, which is Game Brain Evan. So that's that. I don't really post much on there anymore.
Ed. He asked what's going on here stream, and then Evan asked to join, so he's joined me.
Yeah.
So I've talked about this pretty much all sorts. Anyway, yeah.
and then I had this channel, which was kind of like which is my current channel, my original channel. Decided I'll use this channel for my Star Wars content, and I'll just rebrand everything. And that's what I've done. I've kind of went through a rebranding process, and I've been on YouTube. I remember I've been on YouTube so long. I remember the original layouts for YouTube, if I can find those. YouTube.
So my about section says I joined September 24th, 2011. But I only started doing proper like Star Wars and stuff in October last year, which is 2018. So I pretty much just uploaded a base amount of the Ewoks and Droids cartoons, which somehow didn't get copyrighted other than being monetary. And so then I started creating some of my own original content, doing EU reviews inspired by people like Matt Wilkins and stuff. And
yeah,
then I started gaming. Because
I've been around. Sorry, I'm just gonna quickly answer. I've been around since 2008, 2009. It was versus Blue kind of machinima craze. That whole era of YouTube when machinima was platform. So, continue.
But yeah, then I started doing games because I was reading a game at the same time and thought, wait, why don't I record this? And I've enjoyed watching some other gaming channels, so I thought, well, I'll create some of the content that I'd like to watch as well. So, yeah, started doing it.
And have you announced your next play is going to be? Yeah,
I've mentioned that it was between Dark Forces and Force Unleashed, and I'm leaning towards Dark Forces. So.
Dark Force, you'll get through. You know, that'll be a short Let's Play, which is good.
Other than when you do Dark Force, sort of leads into the next Dark Forces game, and then it leads into Jedi Knight. So that's always a good series.
I think you can get away with this as a standalone for a while.
Yeah, we'll
simply because it's not. There's a between the original Dark Force and Dark Force 2. So Dark Force takes place 0 ABY, maybe 1 ABY, something around there. And then Jedi Knight, which is the second game, picks up 5 ABY, I believe. And then its expansion.
Jedi Academy's the only one I've actually played through. That's definitely New Jedi Order.
See, I've played through almost all of Jedi Knight 2 at this point. Because I was like, you know what, I'm kind of curious about the game and might as well get that out of the way. And so I decided to run through that. Dark Force, I'm not all the way through Dark Forces.
I got stuck on the sewer level last time I played it, and then I sort of didn't
the sewer level. The sewer level is. I know you don't like cursing on the show, but it is a it's a flat ass bitch. It's not.
I found it just so confusing.
I was walking around for a good 30 minutes getting like attacked by Dianogas and just...
That's like saying diagonal in an alley.
Yeah.
Diagonal.
And so the thing is like there's a switch in a certain room and then it opens up a really obscure location which isn't visible unless you're at the race in the room.
And it's dark as well. Yeah.
I had to turn up the brightness a bit, so...
Ed's asked, what do I do? What do you do? What do you want to do, Ed? What do you want to do?
What do I do? I don't know. What you watch? Just watch this.
Yeah, join in. Ask questions about Star Wars and EU and stuff. If you
I am taking any trivia questions for maybe a trivia night tomorrow, or I could do it Revenge of the Fifth. trivia. So
One of
that's
the
awesome.
questions I think was out: how many limbs does Anakin Skywalker
Oh shit.
have?
If we count battle droid limbs,
Oh,
it'd
just
be too many.
I
It'd
guess
be
just characters from the movies.
okay. If we count movies, hold on.
Because I think when
If
I
we
was
count
asked that trivia question, it was just the movies.
on screen, how many limbs
And
has
I
he
don't
chopped off?
think they counted battle droids.
Oh, we
That
also
was just
count.
characters, I think.
Uh, freak. We're not. I think just two, and that would be both Dooku's hands.
And then Mace
Uh,
Windu's.
oh, yeah.
And
See,
then I think they Darth Vader, so they said Luke's hand. And
yeah, I went. See, that's the thing with me. That's the thing. I distinctly classify Vader and Anakin different
the
individuals.
actual question up there said Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader, so I was like, okay. When I was at the trivia thing for it.
So that'd be 4 limbs then. Yep.
Yeah, that would be.
Be a solid 4. No, but the thing is like, again, I classify Vader as separate from Anakin, as Anakin essentially, when he became Vader, he locked away the personality of Anakin and wanted nothing to do with that.
Definitely,
It's kind
especially after Padme's death.
It's a order, I believe. It's where he's got multiple personality disorder and disorder, I believe, where he distanced himself from
person.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. That's definitely how I view Vader as well, and how he's written, really, especially in the EU.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, Scott, did you discuss this on the live stream?
No.
But the death of Peter Mayhew.
Oh, I've met a couple times. So,
very good guy. I'm not gonna say I met him. I've met.
Yeah, from what I've heard, he's always been a good guy, and he was
very friendly.
Issues before as well, not able to come to cons and stuff.
His knees were bad, and I think it was because of his height. And it's, if you're too tall, shorter life expectancy.
Oh yeah, that's the same sort of thing as with other animals as well. It's like you get bigger dogs, and the really small dogs have shorter life expectancies. Thinking of Chewbacca, yeah, like the family dog, because Chewbacca was based off of Georgia, I believe. And good times. And what else have we got? Nothing much there. Oh, hello, Brandster. Hello, welcome to a May the 4th random stream where Evans joined in after a couple of hours.
Sup, Brandster?
I think we've talked about other upcoming things of Star Wars, so what are your favourite moments from the expanded universe?
Mine? Yeah. As someone, most of the... Again, I'm going to put this out there. I have access to a lot of shit, and I know a lot of stuff from being on Wikipedia for more than 10 years. I just haven't read a lot of stuff. Like, personally, I only read the Thrawn trilogy, the Republic comics, a few more of the trade paperbacks, and then I'm this way through with Jedi Search, because I'm on that trilogy currently. But Anything specific. I could tell you my favorites because I feel as though, I should experience those firsthand and say, hey, this and this and this.
Yeah, that's fair.
Um, one of them has to probably be the death of. That's honestly one of mine.
I love that whole climax of The Last Command. It's awesome.
Right. It just all comes to a head, and you think that everything, like, they're gonna win, and then all of a sudden, oh, everything's gone to shit. Like, and
Yes, this is a Jedi robe.
yeah, he was in his cosplay.
I thought I may as well put it on for May the 4th, especially when I'm streaming and stuff.
I'm just kind of like looking through some of the chat.
Got up and showed off my costume earlier in the stream as well.
Oh,
So, that's cool. So,
I think
what's some of my favourite moments be? From the books.
another favorite moment. I feel bad. I keep interrupting you. I really do feel bad, dude.
Oh, that's fine. I'm trying to think of moments anyway. I asked the question, I don't even know what mine are.
Another favorite moment of mine is BIM. That's always fun.
Which one's that which materials that featured in?
Republic Comics. It was a big kind of storyline that stretched out. Another thing is Anakin and interactions with Asharat Het, the Tusken Jedi, and dealing with that kind of stuff, because that is an interesting angle at it. So, where the Thrawn trilogy had how Thrawn died. It's better from.
It is a bit sort of anticlimactic if you think Thrawn's going to be taken out in a huge battle, sort of thing.
Yeah, the thing is, that's the only way he could go out. Like, he knows
he was
his
too
own
much
stuff.
of a mastermind to be defeated in tactics. He had to do it through.
Right, he had to do it through some sort of subterfuge, but he never paid attention to the Nogri and their relationship with Vader. That's the big.
Yeah. He thought they're my servants now. I'll be able to control. Didn't think.
Not even that. I think it's also because the galaxy at the time of the Thrawn trilogy didn't know that Luke and Leia were Vader's offspring, which I think it becomes more apparent.
Was traveled. At least the big piece of Bakura. Of course, they're the ones that tell it to. So.
Right. I'm talking about the wider galaxy.
Yeah. I think it more great in the AU.
Yeah. See, the thing I didn't like about... I didn't read Bloodline, but the thing is with canon novel. It's just very... I don't know.
As well.
It's convoluted and it's very grounded in it's really grounded. The new canon's really grounded in the real world versus the EU, which took, there are liberties that were taken. Like, this is a galaxy far, far away. Politics are a thing, yes, but this doesn't mean that, I guess, like in real life, if a big scandal happens, kind of what's going on right now in my country, which is the United States, a lot of people pay attention to that. Whereas in the EU and stuff, it's a big galaxy. It's not really. What am I looking for? It's not one planet. It's not one species. Yeah. It's a larger.
And find the words for it is escapism rather than realism.
Right. And the characters act, though, as humans do and everything like that.
Yeah. Because when you write a character, you have to make them relatable.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not... And again, I feel like a story needs to be grounded in some realism, but I don't think, especially for a science fiction... anything... in sci-fi or fantasy, in for the most part, shouldn't be grounded in real issues all the time,
Yeah.
and that's kind of what the new canon is
And
doing.
that's
And
what some other movies as well now are doing. And some of that, people would say that George Lucas put stuff to do with politics and that in there. But I said it the best with mine was that he was always doing throwbacks to situations that had happened rather than what's currently happening, as well as I think that he knows the line to not cross as far as that goes.
Right, there's a line you should not cross when dealing with topics, because the thing is with all that, there's the line where you shouldn't really talk about real world politics. Professionals and the experts don't talk about that in a movie or anything that's used as an escapism. As that is what the material is. It's for people to escape the real world.
Yeah.
It's to get your mind off of current.
George Lucas has said it really well when he said that I just want to make a film that's a story that I would have enjoyed as a teenager.
Right.
Compared to some of the newer stuff is going, I want to have this sort of thing in it, but specific to a certain agenda and
right.
all that stuff. It's good.
I mean, I totally agree. And the thing is with George did inject stuff, but it was subtle, and he knew how to weave that in almost seamlessly.
And he didn't make it so that the story quality degraded because he put that in.
Right.
Which I find
it flowed well with it.
Stuff does. I wouldn't care personally if they have an agenda sort of thing in it. If it was written well, and for example, where it really hits you over the head with it, I'm not keen on the hitting over the head with it.
Right.
Because usually movies, I do just shut my mind off from all that political stuff and just watch it. But if it's there, evident and obvious, can't.
My room lighting is bad right now. Thank you, fluorescent lighting.
Auto brightening, yeah.
Probably. Let's see.
Yeah, we're not going to mention that guy because that's just getting left behind, Ed.
Yeah, that's another reason why I stepped away for a bit, and I'm gonna make a return here. Again, after tomorrow, I'm gonna try and be on YouTube more and be more. I stepped away because I just didn't want to keep feeding the trolls, as they say.
Yeah.
And I don't want to put myself really in the middle of it, even though I'm willing if negative about him. But I was really considering, I was right on the edge of making a video and posting it and going to war with him. That's how close I was.
We both were on the edge of that.
Right.
I've still got my points on that Google Doc.
Keep that Google Doc just in case.
Yeah.
It's probably good to have. It's probably good to have that. Yeah, celebration was 3 weeks. 3 weeks ago now. Jeez.
Been a while.
Wait.
Time flies.
I have so much footage that I need to compile and upload still, and that's and I haven't done it because again, I stepped away from YouTube and just kind of let things run its course.
Yeah, and I just sort of carried on and just didn't address that anymore. Carry on as well. Don't let it spoil my enjoyment. Brancers ask when Revan comes back into canon. Do you think they'll bring Drew Karpyshyn?
So
I think for Revan it's an when.
Right. Definitely it feels like an if. But actually It might be a win. I'm thinking about it, and it might be a
depends.
win because
At the moment,
he's up.
from my perspective, it's an if, because I
He's a
haven't done Old
popular.
Republic at all yet either. So
Right. It's a win, I think, since he's such a character. They'll
Hi,
of course
Nico.
change it, and they'll mess with the character, or again, they might actually leave him out
Pablo
because it
Hidalgo
conflicts.
tweeted that if he had a say in it, he'd be male anyway. So they'll do their own version of it. As far as Drew Caversham
Not that I have
coming
a
back,
problem.
he said on Twitter that he'd be happy to come back and write more, but I'm not sure if they'd make the management decision to bring him back.
So, did I ever talk about how I met John Jackson Miller?
I think you mentioned it, but it doesn't hurt to talk about it again.
So, when I was at Celebration, I met John Jackson Miller. I try and go to the art booths as well. So, the people I saw, John Jackson Miller, Timothy. I didn't really talk to Timothy Zahn, but I saw him. Jason Fry. I had a good, 2-3 minute talk with him. Let's see who else. Chris Travis, who does a lot of Star Wars artwork, and he's really good at it. He does a lot for reference books. Let me think who else. Met Star Wars Theory. That's right. And Solid Brick Studios. I talked with Star Wars Theory for about 5 minutes. So, I was talking with John Jackson because he had no one really around him, and asked him, I asked him specifically about Knight Errant, because that is
sort of a snapshot of the era that has nothing else in it, really.
it has a comic series, but yeah,
it's
you're
just
pretty much
not
right.
Errant. It's not anything else. Not Errant.
Right. So I was, talking with him, and we were also talking about KOTOR as well. His comic, he did the KOTOR comics.
Nice.
So we were, talking about that, and I brought up the Legends banner for the cover, and he's like, so the thing is with him, apparently, this is how Del Rey does it. We might not see a Legends or Knight Errant, since they might have to change cover art for some reason. He didn't go too much into detail.
Cover up for the Thrawn trilogy and have a
right. They changed covers a lot, but yeah, it sounded like to me that Del Rey didn't want to put effort, at least currently right now, is what it sounds like, redoing covers and spending money on that. At least that's what it sounds like to me.
I mean, I guess it's not too hard for them to put a Legends banner on.
It's not even that. You'd have to change around the art, resize things. It's more complicated than slapping a Legends banner on it.
Just make it half opacity.
Lethal spoke to Zahn. Really? Let me see here. I'm just seeing reading your comments. So, trying to think. You can continue with whatever. I'm just trying to think.
That's alright. Yeah. I think going back to the original question there, I mean, it seems to try bringing all the EU stuff into canon, but I don't like what they're doing with the characters that they bring back, and I prefer them if they're gonna make a movie. I mentioned this earlier in the stream. If they're gonna movies and stuff, then set it in the EU. Don't just bring characters back to draw people in and try and get into your new canon, because the story quality is lower as well.
Right. I can agree. Definitely there's been with the newer stuff. and it's kind of, it's sad seeing Star Wars in such a state. Just the whole new universe feels fragmented. It doesn't.
Something fun as well, though, is apparently I heard from someone that the author of Dooku Jedi Lost doesn't know the difference between EU and new canon. Because he put Ossus First Jedi Temple in Dooku Jedi Lost instead of Ahch-To.
Interesting.
And pretty much the Wikipedia page for Dooku's Legends story, apparently just reading the first is basically what the audio drama is.
Oh my god. Did you listen to it?
Oh, I haven't. This is what I heard from Sussen.
See, I haven't did that.
I haven't devoted that much time to the new canon extra material.
So you know what's very interesting? And I just thought about this. Dooku in the EU, he never really got that fleshed out. We just simply got tidbits of, he never was fleshed out. And I feel like that's weird as he's main villain.
Well, yeah, I think that's for other characters as well. Could be better as far as fleshing them out.
Right, but the thing is like, Plagueis fleshes him out a bit. I'm trying to go back through a lot of stuff.
Legacy of the Jedi has him in it a bit.
I was about to say that. So Legacy of the Jedi, Star Wars Bounty Hunter, Plagueis.
There's some comics as well, I think.
Open season. That's all I can think of.
Okay. When you look on the Wikipedia page, it has the picture of
the
comic.
But he's never had a dedicated, like, that's something I would love to see, is like a dedicated novel.
Yeah. Which I think pretty much would be what they're doing with Jedi Lost.
Your stream went offline.
Did it?
Yeah.
Still says I'm streaming on OBS.
Oh, there.
Oh, it's coming
there
back.
We go.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, fun times.
Yeah. Damn Aussie internet. You just need to make sure. You need to just make sure Aussie internet.
Yeah. I don't know how to put stuff up when it crashes like that. I have fun with it before as well, because I upload a UN review for the next Marvel Star Wars issues that I've read, the next story arc. But I can't do it at the same time as I stream.
I was going to say, I would love to have seen Lucino do a Dooku novel. I think that would have... Cool. Since Lucino writes villains good. Yeah. Oh, it also kind of goes into Dooku's backstory and Yoda Dark Rendezvous. A little bit. Not too much, but it's... Yeah. I'd rather have like a full fleshed out story on during his time as a Jedi and kind of during his fall.
Yeah.
Just something more complete than what we have, which is kind of piecemeal.
Lando doesn't get much love in the expanded universe either with the content he has. Like, but Lando he's in a decent amount of things, but we don't really have his backstory. He sort of just appears when he appears in Han's story.
But the thing is with Lando, though, he does have his trilogy of novels.
Yeah. So at least they do that. And that's a bit of him learning all that.
Which is, good to have on.
Yeah, embrace the dark side. I could have my Jedi costume and then just edit it. That'd be a while away if I ever do something like that. I still haven't rewatched the movies for ages. I've just been experiencing EU content, thinking of that sort of thing. I think I'm going to have a week break as well before I release Dark Forces. Schedule out on that.
Alright, we need to get back to Star Wars The Old Republic, too.
We do. A stream tonight could be the Holic Beast Waiter. Because I'll probably have a break in between to eat and then We
I
did
might be
plan
up
to
for
do
only like
something
another
on
2 hours maybe. I'm just checking here on like Lando's page.
Mm.
No, yeah, I mean Lando doesn't have much in the way of backstory that much, so
It's a similar sort of thing. And I think I mentioned as well, someone mentioned something about not much backstory earlier, and I mentioned about how some species and things only appear once in the Bounty Hunter Wars trilogy is the only appearance of the assembler species. And that sort of stuff, which would have been cool to
right.
explore more of.
It's hot in here.
Yeah.
Oh boy. My computer gets let's see. I'm just kind
Oh
of
yeah,
going through
Hasbro
my
fan polls are weird now. I think everyone's just given up on them after 2017.
Oh, no, you know what makes me mad is no, I mean I kind of understand this, but for Empire Strikes Back 20th, they're only doing fan polls for the Empire Strikes Back characters, and I'm like, okay, so why can't we have an EU character in there? And I'm thinking of a certain EU character that would work for an ESB anniversary. And that character would be Dash Rendar.
Oh, that makes.
That
I was
would.
trying to think if there's a more obscure one.
Yeah. There are, but I'm just saying, like.
I'm thinking, when I go for those fan choice fan polls, I generally like to think of voting we don't particularly have figures of yet. And
Well, you know what?
Shadows of the Empire has had figures come out. So,
well, you know what's really bad? Is that when Hasbro has these fan polls and a Legends character gets voted in as the first place, they'll still produce the second one all the time. And it's like, okay, why did we have the fan poll if you're just going to choose the second place winner as well? I believe that the first year, I believe it was, let's see, there were, 2 EU characters
there is
the fan
a
polls?
Dr. Aphra Black series. I just double checked.
I mean...
Because I hadn't seen anything about the Dr. Aphra figure. No one cared.
You know what? Dr. Aphra is one of the her comic is probably the one that's come out of the Marvel run so far, and it's just like she's interesting. She's an interesting character, and they've done a good job with the character. The thing is though,
when they start putting agendas and stuff in again.
See, I'm not worried that
choices.
Her relationship in, because she's a lesbian in one comic, that doesn't feel forced. It feels organic. So I let that pass.
I think that's what I mean. Is when it's well written, I don't mind so much.
Right. So again, with Hasbro fan polls, I think
I've only heard what I've heard. So
I think the Revan one was second was, I believe, Ahsoka, and then the Jaina one, the second was Sabine Wren. From what I'm remembering.
But they still did release Revan and Jaina.
Right. But they also released a new canon thing as their second runner-up. It's they're defeating the fan poll and a Legends character wins. It's like, okay, cool. I mean, good.
You could
it's
say
good
that they were intending to make them anyway. So,
right. Why even have a fan poll then?
And for Jaina and Revan, otherwise the new canon ones are what they were intending to make anyway. But I don't know.
I want a Darth Kaitis / Jason Solo figure.
Yes, please.
That'd be nice.
That'd be amazing because we have pair up so well. Because I've got the Legacy Collection Jaina Solo and Jason Solo. If they made a Black Series Kaitis, that'd be perfect.
No, I think that, but I think it'd be cool if they had him in Galactic Alliance uniform, but also has a green lightsaber and also comes with a removable red one as well. Swap them out for whichever one
They could have done a lot with that.
want. Let's see. 2017, they changed the scale and picked third placers in the finals. Hasbro screwed up everyone's choices, all fans.
The worst things was they listened to some false information about the. They were saying the bots were them or whatever. It was like, what? No. They're that.
That's an excuse. That's bullshit.
It's an excuse because you go popular. Yeah.
It's like, if they're that popular, why aren't you buying our stuff? Because the quality, there's a drop off, and you're shoveling this stuff out in like mass quantities.
All of
That's
the stuff
why.
that they're bringing out is new canon, and we don't.
Well, yeah, in 2019, it's the ESB stuff. So, I am glad they're doing, for the Black Series 6-inch line, they're doing, they're redoing the older figures, which I like, because honestly, I'd like to have some of the old ones and not spend outrageous amounts of money. And also the faces are better because they're using newer technology on face scanning.
As long as they make one of Wilroy Hood, yeah.
I was at the Wilrose at Celebration, which is a real thing.
That's awesome.
I'm trying to remember what I was gonna say.
And the polls were a really good idea for giving us ones that we want when no more EU content was coming out.
Right. It's like the Super Bowl for 3 teams: Jaina, Talon, and Starkiller. Killer would be an interesting figure if they pulled that off right. I'm sure a lot of people would buy it.
Like, even some of the ones from the new one, like Darth Malora and Jedi Under Siege Darth Malgus, would make good figures as well.
Right. The thing is with me is I'm not really interested in the 3.5 inch. I'm more. I'd rather have 6-inch, or, I'd rather have a bigger figure.
They can put more detail into those.
Right. They put more detail. It's more noticeable on a shelf. Just stuff like that. I like that. It's easier to pose.
They're a bit far away. They're next to the TV.
Yeah. I see Revan and Jaina, right? And Boba.
Yeah, both.
I'm thinking about doing,
they're next to each other.
I'm thinking about probably buying, when I get a job, another prototype Boba Fett and just painting that in the Pana armor, which is like the blue and yellow. Because I think that'd be a really cool idea to do.
That would be,
yeah. So I'm thinking about doing that at some point. And I was going to say, Hasbro's quality has also had a drop off. Do you have a first gen Revan or a second gen? Like, did you get it like right when it came out first time, or did you get it?
I got it a bit later.
Past year or so?
No, before last year.
It was before last year.
I think it was 2017 when I got it. No, but later than when people pre-ordered it and that, because I found it online.
Expensive.
For us, than some of them.
Okay, so it was before the they did another another production run of them then.
Yeah, probably.
So, I've got a question for you. Does your Revan have problems standing up? Like,
no, my Revan's fine. It's my Jaina that has issues.
Yep, there it is. So there's a quality decrease I've noticed, because my Vader's fine. Thrawn is fine. And the problem with it standing up is it like the joints move around? Like, do they feel like loose?
That's more
Is
the
that
center of balance.
So the thing is with my Revan is the joints feel loose. Like you can easily bend the legs more, and I looked this up, and apparently this is a common issue on newer Hasbro 6-inch. And I'm kind of like, okay, this is cool. They're cheaping out on stuff now.
They
Or
still
the
charge the
molds are
same
bad.
prices, yeah.
And I'm like, so what really makes me mad with the Revan figure is that the joint is made out of like a rubber or a resin. And very easily bendable, and it's like, why is this part made out of this material? Why isn't it kind of a softer plastic versus other thing? Let's see. Revan of the 3.5. Oh, yes, I will be getting
actually 2003 General Kenobi, or is that based off the 2008 Clone Wars?
No, it's based off of... it's not even based off of... Okay, so I'm going to tell you what it is.
What are they basing off of?
Green's exclusive here in the States. The
That's
General
fun. I don't have any of that.
It'll probably be like Entertainment Earth or something for you guys. So the General Kenobi is based on, I think it was a comic in Vader Dark Visions for the Marvel series, but they took inspiration from the 2003 series.
Hang on.
And you can tell it's not long, like his episode 2 thing is. So it is new canon.
So that's a picture of 03 General.
Yeah. Let me get.
He's got a bit longer hair and stuff, and this is a picture of the Black Series figure.
Right. The hair is long. The hair is longer than usual.
To me,
but
it seems like the figure makes the armor look a lot bulkier.
Which is what it is. The armor is bulky.
Like,
did they
streamline it like Kenobi probably did in the micro series?
Oh, Sideshow! I didn't know Sideshow did a one of these for him. So that's cool. I like that. Hello there,
General Kenobi.
Oh. Also, if that was the case, he'd have the lance also, but no, it's pretty much his hairstyle is similar to that of the 2008 series versus his episode 2 appearance, what they used with 2003 Clone Wars series.
Mm-hmm.
No, I will be still getting the figure for what it originally was, like what it's based from. So I will be getting that figure anyway. So that figure is going on the shelf of... So the thing is I'm going to get that. So my action figures for... I guess the Clone Wars is going to be General Kenobi. I'll have Rex. And maybe Wolf. And then I'll see what else I can...
So, yeah. To answer your question, J-Pal, I like the 2003 Clone Wars better.
And I'm going to have to say here with... This is my opinion. I like the... Not talking continuity-wise. Just... series and
talking about story. Just how I enjoyed it as I watched it.
I like 2008 more personally. I like the style that Tartakovsky's is, and I think it's very artistic and very, I find it's exaggerated for what it is. That's my issue with it. Is it's exaggerated, but yet It's fun, and it's an adventure.
Yeah, pretty. Yeah, the parts. I mean, I'm not as keen on the animation of the 2008 Clone Wars either, so that's probably part of it.
Yeah, I guess I
Personal
could see that.
preference. So, yeah.
Right, but you haven't watched it in a while, so I think you'll appreciate it more as we get later in the seasons.
Yeah, I don't know.
Particularly, it gets better. There was a style change, I believe, season 3, and then not season. Yeah, there was a style change season. They did minor things for 5, and then they did another kind of overhaul for characters, Lost Missions, aka season 6.
Oh yeah, on that, what about the unfinished episodes? I guess we're gonna watch those. The Bad Batch. At the end.
I mean, we can. I don't particularly like the unfinished episodes. It's not that I can't watch them, in their rough state. It's just that once you get into season 6 of Clone Wars, things start getting really screwy with continuity and it isn't taking liberties anymore, as it feels kind of somewhat, it takes more liberties than the previous seasons do. I'll just say that. Whereas I can excuse Mandalore and Grievous and stuff like that. I can excuse all that because minor changes and then retcon, fine. With season 6 later down the line, there weren't really any retcons for that. And you okay?
Yeah, I just banged my phone on the table. I just banged my.
So, just that. Like, I have problems with season 6 and the unfinished stuff.
You gotta think about the original intention with them as well, because the 2003 meant to be short ones to start with as well.
Right. So
Genndy Tartakovsky would have been picked for his style as far as.
Right, his style was very prevalent in the.
As well.
Right. Tartakovsky's stuff was very in demand, and he was very popular in the early 2000s. And that's, I think, why they went with that.
The other one most people know that he's done is Samurai Jack.
Samurai Jack, he worked on Powerpuff Girls and Dexter's Laboratory. Nice. As an animator. So let's see. It's annoying when the 2003 is talked about and gets compared. I mean, the thing is, with the 2008, again, my whole thing with that is one is more grounded. 2000 grounded in the movies and how Jedi act and stuff, whereas the Tartakovsky series is very exaggerated and takes liberties of its own. Let me see.
It was meant to be just snapshots, and they gave us a bit more story elements in Volume 2, but
yeah,
it was meant to be just snapshots as well.
Yeah, are you keen for the 7th and final season of? So I'm gonna watch it. I'm not including it in Legends continuity because that.
Well, it's not. It's released
there was a cutoff.
All that.
Right, they already cut it off. It was canceled. Things canceled. It's done. That's the end. And I'm not including it with the new canon Legends because it was essentially a revival, which is a different series than the original technically. As once something's canceled, that series is over. They have to make a new series, but they can keep the same name.
And for me, Wars has always been sort of mediocre, as the 2008 series was mediocre for me amongst all Star Wars material. And I guess I'll watch it. Like, I'm gonna try the other new TV series, probably give them a few episodes to see if I'm interested much.
Mandalorian, I have faith in. I've got faith in Mandalorian. Let's see.
I'm not particularly overly excited about it. It's just one of those things I'll watch and see.
Apparently, it's gonna have elements in it, so just watch out for that.
Yeah, I think you know my thoughts on that. I think I talked about that earlier as well, saying we need something completely different.
So So, am I keen for it though? Again, I'll watch it. I feel some of it's a lot of fan service. Bad Batch, I don't think should have been remade or put into a final thing. I'd rather
They'll
have seen.
change.
Still, I would have much rather have seen the Boba Fett arc as closing out for Cad Bane. Mostly is what I want is closure with that, and what they, finish up with Boba in young Boba's story in the new canon. That's what I would have liked to see.
And I guess we'll see what they do when it comes out, because they might just decide to have a different storyline for that.
I've never heard of. Well, it's not that I haven't heard of it. Histories by friends been playing a lot of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, so I'm kind of learning some stuff from that to a degree, but nothing like, oh, I'm taking this as fact when it's not going to be fact, because things like that take liberty.
I shared it on Facebook groups, but I may as well mention it if I can here. It's funny that I'm reading the Marvel Star Wars at the moment because Sergi X Arrogantus looks.
Oh yeah, I saw that. See, I've never played some. I've never really gotten to that kind of.
I think I've played a couple of the games, but I haven't really been way into it.
Yeah.
Watched any of the TV shows or anything. I've
played one of them, but it was like on my one level. I'm more of a Pokemon guy. Even Mario I have difficulty with to the degree of it makes me mad.
You'd love the Super Maker ones, and people make their own that are even harder.
Well, I'm a creative, and yeah, honestly, I wanted to get that. I kind of like missed. I need to get that at some point. So what I originally wanted to do was for someone to enter the trivia night or whatever. My original plan was to trivia night. You had to donate to Twin Sons. I was thinking Twin Sons, Rancho Obi-Wan, a local children's hospital or something, or and I was thinking this after after I found out Chewbacca Mayhew died. I was thinking about also including the Peter Mayhew Foundation, because
which comic books do you prefer? Marvel, Star Wars EU.
So with me, I prefer Marvel. I'm more of a Marvel person. I like their heroes more. I'm not liking a lot what they're doing with their storylines. Dan Slott's off of Spider-Man, thank God. But his final arc was pretty good with the Red Goblin, so that was fine.
Algam Universe.
God. That was like in the early 90s. Jeez. No, I do like Marvel, but I feel like within the last 5 years they've been overstepping their bounds quite a bit on the SJW kind of path.
I've been experiencing some of the comic books through the YouTube channel Comic Storian, which has been really good.
Right, I like him.
As far as, I don't know, I just like particular characters from each. I think DC overall I like a bit better as far as the overall storyline and the quality of the stories and that, but I like Marvel as well.
So with DC, I'm not a big DC guy. I do like Batman's stuff. I do like those, and that's fun. Image Comics, which is probably like one of the smaller ones. Image does some good stuff. I like Saga. I've read a bit of Saga. It's a very interesting kind of comic book. Don't pick it up if you are under 18. Actually, I'll rephrase that. Don't pick it up if you're under 16. 16, there's some nudity in it, but that's whatever. It's just kind of set in a fantasy universe, and it's just fun to read. So
Dark
Saga,
Horse has done some other comics as well, like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and stuff. So
I
I
was
don't know
about to
what
get
they're
to that.
like.
With me is what do I for Star Wars? I am Dark Horse all the way. Marvel,
Yeah, Dark Horse
Star
definitely.
Wars, Marvel, Star Wars can
And
just
you can see in the
go away.
originals where they're not as good, and then they come back and it's not as good as Dark Horse did with them. So.
Right. Dark Horse does some good stuff, and I think Dark Horse is like writers, they writers and artists, and the writers do a really good job on mature themes and writing great stories, and just do a really great job.
And that's where, yeah, I think some of the DC storylines are as more adult themes and stuff that they have in them, and I've liked. Whereas the Marvel,
Are they really trying?
Marvel? I haven't actually listened, watched, read any of the particularly adult themed for Marvel.
Their stuff is, I think, Marvel Max. So if you ever look, some of the Punisher stuff is Marvel Max.
The Punisher might be the only one. I've had a moment there. They even made an animated Punisher movie. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. So the one thing I do like is, and this is what DC should be focusing on instead of live action. DC should really be focusing more a lot on its animation.
They should actually do
department.
theatrical releases for their animated movies.
They did for The Killing Joke, because I went to go see The Killing Joke.
I didn't hear, so yeah. I didn't hear about that getting a theatrical release at all here, so I ended up watching it afterwards.
Yeah, I got like a small one night release here in the States. I watched that? That was fun. Spent on a ticket. No, it was fun. Killing Joke is it was a good adaptation. I don't like the first half of it being kind of iffy, but I feel like if DC focuses on its animated universe more, if they can, because they have a solid foundation there with just their Batman animated stuff. If they capitalize on that, they could really that should be their space because they're good with that.
Yeah.
I forget what it's called. DCU maybe? I don't know what it's
I
called.
just called
no,
them
it's
animated
not.
films. But Dark Horse is also doing Aliens.
Right,
Halo,
they do Alien Predator.
Stranger Things. Umbrella
Halo
Academy, I think, is their comics.
Halo might have switched over to Marvel.
They've got a new release of a Halo comic.
Okay, then no.
That's
okay, no. What I'm thinking of is Halo started at Marvel and then moved over to Dark Horse. It's the
They've
DC
done Hellboy
animated
as well. I don't know if anyone's a fan of Hellboy.
It's called the DCAMU, which is the DC animated movie universe, which includes. They're releasing a lot of stuff for it, but it's good, and that's really what they should be focusing on. I would really Batman Year One, like kind of a Batman prequel to what they've done with before.
Yeah,
I would like to
the
see
thing
Batman
with their animals is if they focus on them more, they could make it all one universe rather than just doing the storylines they feel like as well. If you want that,
that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. Because there's a separation. Killing Joke is not part of that. It's just that same studio. So Killing Joke isn't part of the movie universe. It's its own kind of comic book adaptation, just like Year One is. And I think Under the Red Hood. But the AU movie, the animated movie universe, takes liberties with comic storylines, and
They're
it works.
basically adapting the comic storylines, and the way they've adapted them have mostly been better to be able to fit a movie setting, really. Because otherwise, it'd just be weird watching it as a movie, and you'd miss some details and that.
Just checking here.
Yeah, but I've read Star Wars comics as actual reading it, so I love them. Yeah.
So what are you thinking of the Marvel stuff so far? I'm honestly a bit curious on.
As far as the Star Wars comics.
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
Yeah,
just
like
checking.
what?
I haven't actually read any of them, because.
No, I'm talking about the old ones.
Oh, the old ones. Sorry. I'm just feeling like they're fun and quirky, but it's good that they're in S-canon. Because some bits just go a bit too far. This old man just cutting through stone with his thoughts.
I forget who did that. What was that?
Well, it was the old guy from the village who had the job to protect. It's just like, that's a bit too out there. Yeah, if you read my
wait until you get later on. Like the middle of the Marvel comics are fine, and then it just gets wacky. Then it gets very tame, and then it gets wacky at the end again. And it's like, okay, cool. It's a ride.
Going on a long journey. Yeah,
pretty much. It's.
I mean,
yeah, definitely is.
Thinking back to the DC versus Marvel, I'm sort of in the middle because I like characters from both about equally.
So I think Superman was. I never even said this on Cam, or like even mentioned it, like where specifically I'm from, United States, which is Ohio. I believe Ohio is the birthplace of Superman.
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure. Are you looking it up?
No.
Okay, I thought you just.
I can. I was just trying to think of things to say.
Birthplace of Superman. Cleveland.
Yeah,
I think Cleveland, Ohio.
Cleveland, it looks like.
Yep.
Yeah, they're cool.
Jerry Sager, which is, I think, the creator. Oh.
Yeah. You should enjoy them. I was watching some of the animated Marvel movies a bit more recently as well. They were all reasonably good, but I like the DC ones better for the storylines they picked. And the 18 one, what was it? Secret Warriors. Something like Marvel Rising Secret Warriors that was just cringy. It was just cringy.
So I think Marvel did a really good job with two Marvel series I can think of that are really fun. And that is Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, which is a great series, and Spectacular Spider-Man were very good. I love them. If you haven't watched any of them, go give them a watch.
I haven't watched any of the animated TV series on either side at the moment.
Right. Let's see. Batman Hush animated movie will be a part of the animated universe. The movie animated universe ad?
I guess so. That
or
should be interesting. I
yeah,
like
that
the
should be
Venom storylines in Marvel as well. How they sort of
so the thing
hero.
currently is it's a bit at this point they're kind of overdoing Venom currently and the
Oh yeah.
symbiotes. I don't know why they're doing it.
Is that a recent
Um,
one that I was thinking of? I was yeah. There was something about. Is that to do with the poisons as well on that?
maybe.
Because
Uh,
they've got these poison storyline with these poisons that affected symbiotes when they're bonded to someone, and they took them over back.
the Venom movie I didn't think was that bad. I think from
I
what
thought
they
it was decent.
no, it definitely they did better than I thought they would, which is really good.
Oh yeah, the Batman Who Laughs is really good as well. That's the one I was thinking of.
Mm.
But yeah, I think the Venom movie did alright with showing the sort of anti-hero side of Venom more than last we saw Venom was the Spider-Man movie.
I never had a problem with the Raimi Venom. The look was right. Don't think Topher Grace was good for the role.
It's been ages since I've watched them, to be honest.
Very recently. It was on Netflix for a while. Spider-Man 2 I catch on TV surprisingly more often than you'd think. The first Spider-Man is kind of rare to come by. It's, you know, I have it on VHS, so it's
Oh, you
something
can
that
get it digitally.
I can get it digitally. I don't want to pay money.
Aha,
It's
what
ve-
it means. Arr.
I'm going to the Pirate Bay. Yar, I'm gonna drop anchor in Pirate Bay. Me up some torrents. This no. Spider-Man's TV series gets cucked every damn time.
Oh, that was when I was going back and watching childhood TV shows. I found the Hulk, and I think it was the Amazing Spider-Man. Whichever one it was, it's probably
It was just Spider-Man from the 90s. Unless you're talking about 3D animated. But
I found
really fast.
I watched them all anyway, and then they just ended, and I went, wait. There's YouTube missed some of them, and then no, it actually ended on that. It's like, oh come on, they both left on cliffhanger. Spider-Man.
So the 90s series, no. I still use my VHS player too. Like I've got VHS tapes out the wazoo for
All the
stuff.
good Scooby-Doo VHS tapes. I've got some
No,
of them.
so the thing is Spider-Man's not his last two, but two in a row. His last two outings, his one outing under Fox and his one outing under Sony, ended both on cliffhangers.
And now they've got an outing under Marvel.
The 90s ended off a cliffhanger, which was Peter finding out Mary Jane is alive in the spot dimension. And then the series finale left off with her chasing, left him going through the portal to go and get her back.
Yeah, that was the whoever, Mistress Spider or whatever, saying, "Let's go find
Madam
Web." That one, the female spidery themed one,
the old lady spider. She died in the comics, I believe. But
everyone dies
anyway,
in the comics, then they come back.
I don't think she has though.
Until they want to use her again. Yeah.
So the thing is, and they took, and then the Spectacular Spider-Man ended on, it's a shame that ended, because it was such a good series and very accurate to the comics, yet taking some liberties of its own. It ended with essentially at the very last episode, it was Norman versus Peter, and most of the series was like, who is the Green Goblin, that kind of storyline. And it ended with essentially they do kind of like a dies type of thing. Like he fakes his death, and so at an airport, and you see Norman like have a mustache, and he's like, getting on a plane to Europe.
Oh, that's what
And
they
it's
do.
like-
Fake choked by Vader, yeah.
No, it's. I loved how it captured both. The Raimi movies at the same time that was coming out, it did capture both very well, and it blended. Case in point with the black suit. Black suit went through kind of like an evolution where I think it started out with this look and eventually formed its way into the comic look, which was
cool.
very interesting that they did. I'm just thinking what else.
Yeah.
It's May the 4th and we're talking about Spider-Man.
Let's go back to Star
which is
Wars.
fine.
Have they ever done
I
any
was gonna say it's
crossovers
fine.
with Star Wars with Marvel and DC?
I
didn't
No,
think
Spider-Man's
so.
pretty much been.
I think the most
Star
crossover
Wars
was
been
that
contained.
Tales comic where Han Solo crashes on Earth and then Indiana Jones finds him later.
Yeah. That's about what all they've done was. That and I guess you could call Vector kind of a crossover with
Yeah, sort of
series, but it's all within one
crossover
universe.
within itself, yeah. Within the Star Wars universe.
Right.
Yeah. What am I thinking of? I might leave it here then, and I might just have a bit of a break and have something to eat, and then we want to do afterwards, and that'll be good.
I'll let you know. I'm feeling a bit tired, but again, I'll let you know what
Up
I'm
to you.
going to be doing. But I'll probably be, if you want to join me on my side tomorrow, I'll probably be doing a May 4th stream
Oh, yeah,
tomorrow
that'll
myself.
be Sunday for me, so fun times.
To the 5th for you,
Yeah, as it was called. Yeah.
which is fine. Luke Skywalker versus Wolverine. Wolverine has a healing effect.
Luke Skywalker uses Murray Crow though.
But the
It's
thing is,
tricky
Wolverine's.
when comic book universes versus Star Wars universe.
I think with Wolverine, though, a lightsaber would cut through adamantium. I'm just saying
think
this.
it would take longer. Like the blast doors take a little bit to sort of need applied pressure.
You
I
think,
think.
but I don't think so. I don't think Adam that dense. It's just very hardy. It's not. It's not dense.
Yeah. Comic book universe versus Star Wars is interesting. Because in the Star Wars universe, if they don't have a force barrier, then any force ability would be able to affect them without being stopped.
Right.
In the same token, if someone has telekinetic powers, it wouldn't be counteracted by the force. If we're going with a neutral.
Because why are you asking Wolverine though versus Luke Skywalker? The better question is Psylocke versus Luke Skywalker. That's a better question.
I think Wolverine's healing factor would be a big factor. But if Luke Skywalker, like, no morals, just crashes, he's done.
Psylocke is the closest to a Jedi in Marvel, essentially. I believe she's got telekinetic powers and she can make psionic blades, which is just like a lightsaber.
I think there's two types of vibranium as well.
There's vibranium and then there's adamantium. And then there's
a vibranium that
combination.
absorbs energy and there's a vibranium that reflects energy. I think, from what I'm
trying to think.
Heard.
So, I think what you're talking about is in the comics, there might be two in the one universe in the MCU, the Marvel Comics, the Captain America's shield is made of, I believe, an adamantium vibranium alloy.
Yeah. But
I
yeah,
could be
basically
wrong.
different elements. Vibranium has absorbing energy at least, and adamantium doesn't. It's just
Okay,
sturdy, I think.
right.
It's just sturdy.
Oh, okay. J. Paul's asking.
Yeah.
So vibranium is able to access kinetic energy. And it's very strong. Adamantium is a lot tougher, and it's, from what I understand, it's just a very tough metal, like the hardest alloy on Earth. Across the Marvel multiverse. That's what the difference is. And
Yeah,
Captain
if Marvel
America
does a crossover with Star Wars now, it'd be canon because there's no canon tiers.
I mean, you can always declare something non-canon.
But then do you put a Legends label on it?
No. It's just thing.
Jedi Mickey with the Legends label on it, they're just looking at Legends with one canon tier now. It's just as canon as everything.
Does that have one Mickey or two Mickeys on it? If it's one Mickey, it's
Mickey.
non-canon. If it's got two
Mickey.
Mickeys,
I don't know. I just googled
does it have
Jedi
a Mickey or not?
I don't know. Yeah, I just googled Jedi Mickey, so I'm not sure. What is the voice recognition doing? I didn't even.
Stupid phone. Jinx, you owe me a soda halfway across the world.
No, that's hilarious.
Because we said that the exact same time. What is this? Apparently Lego's doing something with its,
What if Star Wars does between the canon and the expanded universe?
Hey, they're, Lego's doing something with its, Mind Storm, but it's also combining Star Wars stuff, so it's like, kind of like the Technic stuff back in the day. It's called Boost, or whatever.
But anyway, I might leave this off here and eat and stuff, which will be good.
Alright, dude. You'll probably come on my stream technically later today / tomorrow, because tomorrow.
Yeah. Let me know what time. So, thanks everyone for joining. That ended up really good. I wasn't sure how just joining myself and seeing who joined would go, so that was good. So, thanks for joining.
Lethal leave?
Later. I think he was driving home. Probably has stuff to do. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining, and I'll see you in the next video.
Happy May the 5th be with you if your time zone is now.
I'm holding out for May 25th when the actual anniversary is. So.